Welcome back. Today we're going to cover the final 2 steps in our 4-step series on how to deliver a great bowl. We're going to talk about the movement and the release. And just like the last video, you're going to get a little bonus content on the follow through. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Technical Difficulties. We're back again at Heritage Greens Lawn Bowling Club, my home club in Kitchener, Ontario, to do these videos and give you the final 2 steps in our delivery process. That is the movement, so the actual motion you make when delivering a bowl, and the release, the point where the bowl rolls off your fingers, touches the ground, and proceeds down the rink. Now we'll also throw in the follow through, which is all the stuff you do after you release the bowl, which you might not think is important, but it actually is. Now, if you haven't seen the first 2 videos in our series, there'll be links above my head here to take you to both the grip video and the stance video. Go check those out and then come back to complete the series. Now we're gonna throw it over to Darryl once again. He was a great help in our last video and he's been gracious enough to do it again. So let's throw it over to him and we'll proceed to take you through the movement and the release. Let's talk about the motion. Now that you've checked your grip and you're comfortable with that, you set your stance and you're on the mat and ready to go, 100% focused and in alignment with your target, let's start the motion. Your bowling arm will drop. This is not a forced movement, it's a natural use of gravity. Your upper body will drop at the same speed. For a shorter shot, you want to move a little slower. For a harder shot, you might want to move a little faster. But everything will move in one synchronized motion. As your arm drops and starts to get towards your knee, your off foot or your step foot will lift and take a natural step forward. This shouldn't be exaggerated. You don't want to take too much of a step or too little of a step because that could throw off your balance. This is a natural step forward. The body itself will begin its natural motion. As the bowling arm reaches the knee, all the movement starts to happen through your entire body. Where your arm ends up should not break the plane of your stance. So it shouldn't go further than your heel or your butt. If you're raising your arm up more, you're gonna find that there's tightness in your shoulder or you're doing something unnatural. This should all be smooth. You want your weight to be controlled by the speed of your delivery and your follow through. You don't want to have anything forced. The bowling arm needs to be straight during the forward motion, so as you're coming forward, you want that arm straight and in line with your point of aim so that your bowl will then go along your point of aim. Your eyes must be focused on your point of aim and nothing else. And this is where we get to the release. The release. It is such a small part and such a short instance of the delivery. It's a split second and it'll pass by in an instant. But it is so critical to the success of your delivery. You need to be able to release the bowl smoothly on the ground. You do not want to loft it, which is throwing it up in the air and having it drop. And you do not want to drop it, which is basically dropping it from your hand into the ground and then having it go forward. These can have detrimental effects on your point of aim and your speed. You have no control. The bowl should be released at the moment or just after the bowling arm reaches the front of your front step foot. We'll illustrate it here. It is that really small section that you need to hit. Anything past it, and you're going to be throwing the bowl up in the air because your hand will be going up. And anything before it, your arm hasn't completely come through to ground level and you will be dropping it into the ground. So unconsciously, you need to be able to drop it in that red zone. The bowl is allowed to roll off the 2 middle fingers that we illustrated in the grip. The thumb and baby finger have no contact. You don't want those causing any issues with your line by moving it left or right. You want this to come clean off of your hand without any other friction or movement. Make sure as you're doing this, your eyes are still focused on your point of aim. That is critical. Through this whole delivery process, eyes are focused on the point of aim. As you practice this and as you do more repetition and more repetition, it will become just a natural delivery. You will not be thinking about all the various steps that we've gone through. As you release, your arm should remain straight. And this is where the bonus content comes in, the follow through. Now that you've released the bowl cleanly and you've hit that really key point just in front of your foot, your bowling arm will continue to move as you release. The follow through is not complete until the bowling arm is parallel to the ground and in line with your point of aim. Very, very key. The idea of a really good follow through is to count to 3. If you can hold your position with your arm up to the count of 3, you know everything is completed. If you shorten your follow through and you jump up off the mat or you jump up straight with your legs, things are gonna happen that you're not intending to. You may loft the bowl because you haven't fully released it. You may not hit your point of aim because you're too worried about moving off the mat than you are in completing that follow through and getting that release clean. If you put all these pieces together, this should give you a fundamentally sound, comfortable, and repeatable delivery that you can get a bowl down the rink on line and on weight every single time. Now I'm back to take you through a quick recap of all the stuff that we did as part of the motion, release, and follow through. Now once we have our grip and we have our stance on the mat, we are all ready to go. Now, seeing it sideways should hopefully help you see everything go in motion. You want everything to be the same speed. Having your arm go too fast while you're slowly stepping out gets you all out of whack. Stepping out too fast and then having to catch up is not ideal. You want your arm and everything to go in a nice fluid motion, nice and slow and controlled. But everything moves at the same speed. In my stance, arm drops naturally. I'm not trying to get it back. I'm letting it come down. Nothing super forced. And as my arm comes down, my leg comes forward. I plant my foot just before I move forward. So my arm comes down, foot goes forward, and I'm not going too far back. I'm going just enough. And what I want is for my arm to hit here, my foot is up. As it's coming down, my foot is down. And I don't go farther than my butt. If I go farther than my butt, you might be able to see it here, and I pull my arm back, the farther I pull my arm back, I'm twisting my body. And that's where this comes in, this movement. I can't get it high enough without twisting my arm, or I'd have to move my arm back, and then I'm out here. You want everything to be smooth and straightforward. The release. Such a critical step and such a minuscule moment in time for the whole delivery, and it's so critical. When you take your step out, the region for error is probably only a couple of inches from just inside your foot to just in front of your foot. You want to lay the bowl down so that it comes onto the ground and it rolls smoothly. If I put my foot down and I'm too far forward, I'm coming up already and I'm gonna loft it. So if I go too early, I haven't quite made my motion down to the release, it's gonna be a drop. You don't want any of that to happen. A drop causes bounces, causes speed reduction, line changes. You don't have a lot of control over it. A loft, same thing. You're kind of throwing it up in the air, it's hitting, reducing speed, maybe changing line depending on how hard the grass is, possibly making divots, which nobody wants. So that release is so key. And then hold that position as the follow through. So I've released, and I want to hold this position. It may be difficult if you have bad balance or any leg problems, knees, waist, all that kind of stuff. But the idea is, if I release and come up too fast, I may not have fully released the bowl and I'm pushing myself up already. I want to hold it for a couple seconds so that A, the release is done and my delivery is complete, and B, I can focus in my delivery where my arm is and say, that's exactly where I wanted it to go. Do I need to make any adjustments? And concentrate on where that bowl is going. Hopefully, all these steps help you out. These steps all together, with a little training, some repetition, should give you a great foundation to build an awesome delivery. You may need to make adjustments, like we always say, based on your physical ability, knee replacements, hip replacements, neck issues, whatever it is. But make those adjustments as you need them, and hopefully this gives you a complete and awesome delivery and gets you super success down the road for making that draw every single time. And with that, may all your bowls be touchers.